I don't know when I'm gonna go because I'm going with someone. So it feels like I'm waiting. I'm not. It's like the get up and go part has got up and gone in my brain. Hey, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. I'm Faith Roswell and I have autism. I normally blog here from my canal boat about general aspects of boat life, but I mentioned something in a previous video about struggles that I have with my autism, and one of those struggles is executive dysfunction. And the response I got, a lot of people wanted to know more. Other people suspected that this is something that they struggle with too. So this is a video about what is executive dysfunction, how does it affect me, how does it affect everyone else, and is there anything you can do about it? So what is executive dysfunction? Well, what is executive function? Executive function is the social and life skills that you use unconsciously, you don't know you have. Hypothetical situation, you're meeting your friend in town for a coffee at a place that you've never been before. So focus, communication, direction, time management. You generally don't know that you're actually using those skills. For somebody who suffers with executive dysfunction, any one of those skills or more that don't come into that particular scenario can be short-circuiting, not working, faulty connections, and the seemingly simple task of meeting that friend in that coffee shop at that precise time just doesn't happen. Now, executive dysfunction is a symptom of a problem. It's not a condition in and of itself. It's often associated with things like autism or particularly ADD kind of conditions, but it's also something that can happen if, say, you've had a stroke or a brain injury and all sorts of other different conditions. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, but everyone gets that. Who hasn't walked into a room and completely forgotten why they've been there? Who hasn't fluffed their lines or stuttered? Well, that is true. That is an executive function failure. But the difference is like the difference between somebody stuttering once or twice on someone's name and actually having a stutter. Anyone can feel depressed at some time in their life, but it's a very, very, very different thing from clinical depression. Anyone can walk into a room and forget why they're there. Anyone can completely lose track of the time. But when it's a side effect of an actual condition, then the usual ways of fixing that kind of problem don't apply. Now, I often explain it like that. I often say it's like a mental stutter, because most people know that saying to someone who has a stutter, just calm down, just breathe, say it slowly, all of that kind of thing, the usual advice that you would say to a nervous person, doesn't apply. Because the disconnect isn't happening because you're nervous, it's happening because the brain, intention inside the brain and the actual action, your synapses, your neurons, your connections are not firing. And that's why it's so damn infuriating when someone says to me, just make a list, just set an alarm. For normal people, for anyone normal, then yeah, that's something that really can help. It's something that you learn to do. But for someone like me, I can end up making a list of all my lists and then get other lists and then lose the list and then have to make different bullet points because every single task seems so monumental that I can't simply tackle each task on its own. And then that's when you wind up sitting there for 3 hours freaking out and doing nothing. And it sucks. We don't really know. We know, or we suspect, that it occurs in the prefrontal cortex, and that is responsible for your decision to act. Right now, I'm going to pick up this notebook in front of me with my lines, so I don't fluff my lines. How's that going? Right? But to do that, my brain has had to have the intention to act and then inform my body that this is what we're going to do. Your brain can be screaming at you, do the thing, just do the thing. But your body is not responding because the connection, the link, the little cog in the wheel is not connected. And if you've got no connection, you've got no action. You can have all the intention in the world, but without that link, nothing can happen. So it makes it a very, very frustrating symptom to have a lot of the time, trust me, I know. Until COVID, I was travelling the world for work. I always thought that I was shit at responding to messages because I was always on the go. I mean, my brain was just always on tour. But being in lockdown, and people used to say to me, yay, now Faith, you can actually respond to messages on time. Did that happen? And so I spent quite some time in lockdown thinking I was a monumental fuck up, because it hadn't occurred to me that the problem wasn't that I was simply on the road all the time, that the problem was actually in here, that this seemingly inability to respond to a message on time, even from, you know, my best friends, even from people that I truly, truly cared about. Why couldn't I just do it? Most people can talk to their friends. Why was I staring at an email with my brain screaming at me, Faith, just answer the email. Faith, just click on the inbox. Just start typing. Why wasn't it working? It was only through people sharing memes and comments and writings about ADD especially, but also autism. There's a lot of crossover between symptoms, that made me think, hang on a second. This is sounding a little bit too familiar. Is this what's going on here? Is this what's wrong with me? And then when I started to do my research, so much just fell into place. And that was a huge weight off my mind, because instead of then berating myself for being a complete fuck up, I could start looking into solutions. Another side effect is a problem with prioritizing tasks. It often feels like everybody else carries their mental load so easily, so why do you get so overwhelmed? And for me, this idea of, oh, I'm overwhelmed, oh, I just thought, like, come on, Faith, you're not dealing with, like, I don't know, you don't have cancer and an elderly parent and you're fighting to keep 3 jobs and you're taking care of a young sibling or something. Get over yourself, learn to function. Slap. It's not that bad, therefore why can't you just pick up this mental load? Well, let me move back to show you why. So everyone, every kind of person, whether they're neurotypical or not, is juggling a lot of plates. Normally that looks like things like work, your family, maybe your boyfriend or a partner, your children, pets, your friendships, and perhaps some hobbies as well. And most people can comfortably fit most of those into their world, especially if you don't end up with 3 different things at once all needing your attention. But when something does need your attention, then out of those plates, something like, I don't know, a message from your best friend saying, I'm getting a divorce. That's then at the forefront of your mind. That then instantly comes to the priority list. The same with, say, your boss that says, we need to talk. There we go, that's now a priority. Everything else is okay, that can be pushed back for a bit. You're dealing with these things now. Here were my plates. Everything from the different careers and different jobs that I have, the friends, my family, and so what I used to do, or what I still can do, is I will answer the little emails because they're fast. If I've got 50 emails in my inbox and 49 of them are from fans or people saying something nice, I can do those 49 in seconds. But I look at the long 3-page, really lovely message from a friend and I seize up, because I know that that's going to take a very long time for me to answer, because I give it my all and I have to think, and I have to think about what I'm saying back to them. And all the while I've got all these others. People who have conditions like this are very, very, very good at giving the impression they have it all together. So they look like they've got all of these different plates, all these different things that they're all just handling really well and juggling them away. But in reality, something's got to give. And often, this pile of stuff has been neglected. And you don't realise, and that's why you don't realise until 2 weeks have gone past, oh my God, I should have responded to this person 2 weeks ago. And then your brain goes into a vicious cycle. If I respond now, I'm then going to have to deal with the inevitable, why didn't you call me back? Or the fear of then they're going to respond to you, and are they going to be okay about this? Are they going to be understanding? Are they going to ask more questions? And the whole cycle then starts all over again. Now, anyone who's ever talked to me, anyone who's ever spent any level of time with me knows that I give you my undivided attention. Online, it's hard to get a response out of me within 2 weeks. I find it's something that's often very hard to explain to people, because a lot of people will say, just do it. Can you just do it? But many of these people would not say to someone who has a stutter, just say it. Because you know that it's not it's not a lack of wanting to say something, because if it was a lack of wanting to speak, then, you know, anyone that wanted to speak would be able to, and anyone that didn't would just fake having a stutter the whole time. I hate the label of lazy. Anyone that spent time with someone who has a condition that means they struggle to function with anything, will see the frustration that comes with it, especially when they haven't realised that it's a problem. So they just think that they are a failure. They just think they fail at life. And no one should think like that, especially, well, no one that actually wants to function in life and feel like their brain is working should ever feel like that. It's not that I'm lazy, and it's not that I am just really supremely antisocial. And it's not that I'm just bad at this shit. It's actually a symptom. And so now I can figure out ways that can help me. If anything that I've said has resonated with you, then please let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel, because then you get my updates without me having to scream it from the rooftops all over Instagram. And if you really want to support my work, then please sign up to my Patreon, where you get to see all of my travels all over the world. Thanks to all my Patreons. You have no idea how much I appreciate you, but I really do. Stay adventurous, rock on, and if you have any kind of symptoms like this, trust me, you are not alone, okay? You're not alone.